What's going on, everybody? Today I got a review for an X Plus figure. Haven't done one in a while, and it is for the classic Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. This one hits a little home for me, a little bit nostalgic because this was the first Godzilla movie I ever saw and bought. This was actually the VHS that I had. Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster, didn't realize until later on, years later, that it was actually Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla because I was young as hell and the internet really wasn't a thing yet. So this figure is a vinyl transfer of the MM28 Godzilla 1974 resin kit. It's a very popular sculpt. Fans have been asking for this to be translated to vinyl for a long time now. He stands probably about 11 inches to 12 inches tall. That's really where the 30 centimeter scale line goes. I think the resin kit was probably a little taller, like 32 centimeters. This figure has a very upright stance, which is accurate to many of his poses in the actual movie. It really personifies the essence of Godzilla's personality in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But I do think in some of the angles the likeness is maybe a little off. Something about it, I can't really put my finger on it. But in some shots, especially face on, he almost looks more like the 1973 Godzilla vs. Megalon suit, more so than Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But to give props to MM28 and X Plus, I do love the tree bark texture to the skin. That looks perfect, as do the silver spines, the silver highlights on them. I think they look great. Again, the pose is 100% Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 74. Like, that looks just really, really well done. Just something with that head-on face. See, from the side profile like this, I think he looks perfect. I think he looks amazing. And then even this shot right here, again, still looking really, really good. I think that looks like a fair likeness. I kept going back and forth because I didn't know if maybe the pupils and eyes were too big on the figure compared to the actual suit, if something with the brow or the flatness of the top of the head was throwing me off. But again, depending on the angle, this thing looks really, really, really great. Maybe even almost perfect. And then from the other angles, maybe it just, to be fair, maybe it just looks a little goofier. And maybe it's accurate, but just a little goofier. I don't know. But it is a really great piece. I definitely recommend this for fans of the suit, for people like me, where there's a little more nostalgia included here. And you're not going to beat the price on this, and compared to getting the actual resin kit, and hold on to it until maybe another option comes down the line. So as the first Godzilla movie that I've ever seen, this one holds a little more weight to it, to me. And it was my mother who got me into Godzilla from stories of her childhood. When I jumped into this movie, I mean, obviously Mechagodzilla was there, King Caesar was there, Anguirus was there. I just remember being so confused because of the events of the movie, not having any context whatsoever. And just seeing Anguirus show up and kind of get almost demolished by, at the time, what was a clone of Godzilla. I didn't know who was a good guy, who was a bad guy. There's just so much that for a first film, it was kind of a hard one to just kind of jump into, but it was so enjoyable. Like, I loved watching it for the first time. I almost wish I could get to relive that again, but that's not the case. And it was just a introduction to a much bigger and larger world. But it makes me overall happy to have this figure, more so than any other figure that I've really reviewed. So one thing I was also thinking about, like, what if maybe what's kind of thrown me off a little bit is maybe this figure would look good or better with a roaring mouth, with a different kind of pose. And for those of you who may not know, Leslie Chambers, he's been doing Godzilla figure reviews and similar for a long time, and he has this X Plus figure plus the original resin kit. And his resin kit actually shows the piece with a wider mouth. Also, you see how much texture is there due to it being the resin kit compared to how it looks next to the vinyl counterpart. So maybe a combination of a different pose for the mouth plus seeing the actual texture that is really present in the kit that's not necessarily there for the vinyl piece. Maybe that's making a difference for me. Maybe it's things like that. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts? Who has this piece? What do you think of it? And does anybody kind of feel how I do with the likeness itself being a little bit, maybe just a tad off in certain angles? Is it just me? Thank you guys for watching. Peace.